We got this new format for the show this time, man, and
Okay.
literally dropped the first episode back with Gabriel yesterday.
Oh, that
And
bastard beat me?
hey,
Son of a
only
bitch.
by 24 hours, bro, because
God damn it.
as soon as you and I are done today,
You're gonna
I'm
put
not
it up?
editing a single part of the conversation and I'm going to post it. My workflow is now 2 hours. It was only 2.5 hours yesterday because I had to like log back into a lot of services and
Yeah.
stuff. There's some clunky crap there. I also had to change my templates, like my episode description. It's just a new deal. And we've been recording for 45 seconds, by the way.
No,
Everybody,
you're good.
welcome back to KCBC. Tyler McDowell, probably the quickest
Here.
return to the show in episode history. Even though it was 6 months ago, you were on episode 62, 63, one of those, and now you're 65.
Yeah.
Uh, what's transpired in that amount of time is nothing short of incredible. And so we're going to talk about that today. But man, so glad to have you back, dude. You good with your
Thank you.
equipment, by the way?
Yeah,
I
just
see you
don't
adjusting
mind
stuff.
me. I'm just trying to put a monitor. I have 72 monitors. I'm trying to put one right in front of the camera so it looks like I'm looking at the camera instead of, oh, now I have to also sit right here. Oh, do this. I'm not prepared at all. Hey, how's it going? Thank you. It's great, great, great. What has transpired?
Yeah,
A lot
brother.
of
Let's
things.
go.
When was it? When was I on last time? Was
So
it like
you were
last
on,
May?
it was May. And just a quick recap, we talked about Zoink Pad, talked about
Yep.
Blackmagick TV. You were wanting to
Yep.
redo the studio. Um,
Yep.
at the time, we talked about your criminal record and what you learned through that. I know you got some things to talk about today. I'm not going to spoil it, but that's kind of where we were at. So I think for listeners coming back, knowing that a lot of our folks, they're our folks anyway, right? Like
Right,
they're
right,
in our
right, right.
community. Having said all that, like that's kind of where we're at. So
Yeah, I think well, I moved just right before I bought a house right before we did the last one, and it is now been a year almost that I've been in the house, so that's
yeah,
cool. We got that rocking and rolling. Zoink Pad is still trucking along, growing. We're trying to I've now become a marketing man for the company. I'm trying to learn how to do that because we're gonna man, I tell you what, that marketing stuff is like on the business side of things, since this is the Kansas City business cast. Uh that marketing stuff is a whole different game, dude, of like trying to like how do you manufacture business for yourself? And how do
right,
you get business from other people? Like, not say you're trying to take business, but like, how do I get somebody to choose us over the next guy? You know what I mean? So it's been a big learning curve. We actually did pretty well last year for being our first year business. And then we technically lost money, you know what I mean? Like, that's pretty standard, but we also, started paying ourselves,
wow,
a
bro,
small amount,
congratulations, dude.
but weekly we've been paying ourselves as we've been working our, full-time job still, and then I sorta got fed up with working for someone else, and then we sorta made a brash decision a few months ago to I was gonna open my own body shop, and so now I'm putting the finishing touches on Blackmagick Customs, which will be
That's it.
a full-blown paint shop, body repair, hot rod service, custom car, pretty much anything to do with building a custom car, I'm gonna do, but I'm trying to gear it towards, like, the working class man, like, the working class people, men and women, not just man, but,
Yeah,
just somewhere where, like, you don't have to I'm working with the paint manufacturer and some other vendors to get it to where I can offer a paint job that doesn't cost, $40,000 for these people for their cars, and
right.
it's gonna be a whole should be a great thing. The biggest thing that happened, which I think is what you were alluding to, was that I sort of disappeared. I haven't done the YouTube thing at all. I've been trying to get back to it, but it's sort of parlayed. There goes my light. That's cool. As you can see, my
Hey,
equipment's not.
if you wanna fix your
Nope, I
light,
got it.
I
Nope.
gotta shut my heater off
Okay, well, shut
because
your heater off.
I'm roasted. 1 second, brother.
Roast it, baby. All right, now that Michael's gone, I'll take over the show. If you're still watching out there, people. Oh, he's back that quick. I couldn't even say anything bad about him.
When that light shut off, I was like, "Thank you, Jesus."
Yeah, no, this thing will
Because
it'll
I
go
had to
off.
shut this space heater off, man. I am roasting bad
I
in
don't know
here.
what's going on with it, but, I see it goes off again. Well, we'll just roll like this. Here, I'll just do
That's totally fine. Yeah, go for it.
the overhead light on. That'll be fine. It looks good enough.
Yeah, you're
There's
good,
enough
brother.
natural light coming in.
Yep, you're fine,
See,
man.
now we're at the point where everything's gonna go wrong and, like, my mic stand just busted. This is what happens when you don't.
This is awesome because this new season, this is exactly the type of stuff that I wanted to see happen. We talked about Gabriel's heater yesterday. You know, he
How he's got the heater in the basement, it
on
just goes blah.
every episode in Winter of To Bring About has that freaking heater turning on.
I had the same thing at the old house, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
But,
yeah, brother.
so in the middle of summer last year, I have a friend who's a, KCK police officer. He's an older guy. He's like, he's past retirement age. Um, and Big J hit me up and was like, "Hey, they got this thing going on at the, in the county. I think you should sign up for it." And it was a deal to get an expungement. Uh, so I called and I talked to the district attorney on the phone. I pre-qualified for this program, and then I went and they
Wow.
have like a fair where they have
Can
all
you
these
tell
like.
us how you pre-qualified, or do you want to give us the short story and then explain
I can
details?
give
I
the
just
whole thing. So basically,
because
they have a
yeah, I want
program
this to
in.
be educational for folks,
Yeah,
you know?
in
So,
Wyandotte County once a year. They've been doing it. I hope that the new mayor keeps it up. But they have this program. They have an expungement fair where anyone in the county who has a state charge, um, in Kansas, if you live in Wyandotte County, if you're, as long as you have a Kansas charge, you can go there. You can.
felony or misdemeanor, or is it
Yeah, whatever.
felonies?
Any sort of
Okay.
criminal
Any
charges.
criminal
There's a
charge.
few
Yeah,
exclusions where it's like iffy that they're things that they won't expunge
sure.
anyways.
Right.
Um, but I went and I pre-qualified, so they just ask you a few questions about your crime. He pulled out. I talked to the actual district. I just caught him on lunch break. I just got
It's
lucky. The
incredible,
actual
dude.
district attorney answered the phone when I called because it was like right at 12:30. And he looked at my case, said, "I don't see a problem with any of this because it had been like a decade, you know what I mean? I've never gotten in trouble again." Um, I went and then they have this fair, like a few weeks I barely made it in. It was like a few weeks later, I went to this job. It's like it seemed like a job fair, but it was at the community college. They have like a resource center in Wyandotte, and uh they have all these people there, legal aids, whoever, and they help you fill out the motion paperwork. And then once you fill out the motion, you take the paperwork yourself. So it's like 2 hours of sitting there filling out this paperwork, getting it all right. They triple check it. Then I had to, it's on you to go to the courts and say, "Hey, um, I need to file this motion." Now, I don't know if you've never done that, which I hadn't. That's a
Mm,
whole thing. You have to go to
okay.
one office and then get drop your paperwork off, get a receipt from them. Go to another office, get something from them. Go back again. You walk up and
There's no
down.
online system. You're
No, this is
literally
in the
showing up,
courthouse, walking from
papers,
office to office,
freaking old
paying
school.
money, doing shit, right? Like, so now it's
Yeah.
like, oh, now I know why lawyers cost so much money because they got to
Huh.
have somebody that does this shit. Well, I did all that, and then I just told myself basically, like, I'm gonna disappear for until I hear back about this. They said it could be 30 days, it could be you don't know when, and then it was like, so basically, a judge can either approve it or deny it. If they deny it, you get a day in court, at which time then I would have had to go to court. I would have had to bring. I mean, I already had it lined up. I was going to bring people from charities I worked with, people I've worked for, people that knew me then and knew me
Just
now.
advocates, right?
The
Yeah.
the cop that sent me there, I was going to ask the chief of police. I was going to guys call these people, right?
That's
And
amazing.
essentially, uh I just did it and didn't think about it, but I wasn't going out. I didn't do anything last year at all. I didn't go out at all. I just worked, came home. went to a few concerts, that was it, and then, I came home one day, and there was a piece of paper there, and it was a big old thick packet, and it was 2 copies. It was a copy and the original of this motion of my motion, signed by a judge, and then as I read it, I should have had it sitting here, but they beyond just removing my felony record, it also deleted my entire arrest record. So now if you look me up, it's I was never arrested for that crime. I was never arrested for any crime at this point, because everything else had already because, like, when you get arrested for, like, a possession charge or whatever,
Anything. It's
those
all there.
automatically drop, but those misdemeanors go away automatically over so many years. And so I got that, and then it was like, so I didn't know it was all that. I just thought it was going to be like, oh, your felony's expunged, so it doesn't show you convicted of the crime, but it shows you got arrested. You know what I mean? I thought there'd still be
Like, there'd
some
be something
stigmatism,
left. Yeah,
right?
like,
There'd be something left, but
something
there's been
somewhere.
nothing.
Oh my
Right, so there's
gosh, brother.
nothing, and it was like, you know, getting out of jail and, like, deciding to not lie anymore and deciding to, like, not get high anymore. That was, like, one weight getting lifted off my shoulders, and then, like, then there was, like, the getting back on your feet again, getting out of your own, and then there's another weight when you're not relying on other people, and then there was, like, last year, I moved and bought a house instead of having a fucking landlord, and that's, like, a huge weight lifted off your shoulders, and then this felt the same way as, like, not having a landlord anymore, the getting my record expunged. It was like it just that day, it just felt like, okay, I don't have to worry about getting pulled over anymore. I don't have to worry about anything. And people will, people will judge. We're as a people, we're pretty good at judging, and they'll go, "Well, you shouldn't have done what you did." And it's like, yes, you are right, but what those people don't understand is it doesn't matter how much you do or how much you change, if that thing shows up when they pull you over, if you get pulled over for a headlight and that thing's on there, it was an it take I got pulled over like 4 times in the last year and a half, all for dumb stuff. Oh, you got a burnout turn signal. Oh, you got a burnout running light. Things that, like, any normal person, like, you just don't know, you know what I mean? Nobody's out here checking their I work on cars, but, like, I don't go around my car like, "Oh, let me check all the lights today." But, it would be an hour on the side of the road, and people don't get it. And then I would get shaken down, and I'd have people with me, and they'd be like, "What is going on?" I'm like, "Well, this is just what happens, man. They are technically allowed to do this, so they will do it just because they can." That they don't care. So now I've taken that away from them, but I've been trying to, like, I've gotten a bunch of calls from other people, and I've just pushed them to be like, "Hey, if you have the money, just hire a lawyer.
Right.
It's expensive. If you don't have the money, then wait till this summer and go to the thing."
That's
Excuse me. But
incredible.
there's people that had a stack, Michael, of, like,
Like, showing up to
expungements.
that
They were there, they left there with probably, like, 12 different things they were getting off their record. Like, people were, because it's a new deal, and because of that, like, they changed the laws in Kansas and Missouri, right? So I
mm,
got, of course, as most of these people will know, they probably saw my dumbass on the internet with Gabriel, but I got my gun rights back. I got all my rights back, and then the first thing I did, the day I got that paperwork, I went to the gun store, and everybody's like, "Oh my god, are you, like, a gun guy now?" I was like, "Dude, I keep
you're
telling people, like,
you're
you
damn
guys
right.
do remember that, like, I was a criminal, right?" Like, I just
Right.
they said I couldn't have guns, so I didn't have guns. And then now, like, I'm like, it's become a new hobby, really, to, like,
My gosh.
educate myself, and since then, I've taken the concealed carry course. I've
Congratulations, brother.
Yeah,
Dude,
thanks,
yeah.
man.
So that was absolutely epic, and, what folks that are in our circle and the circle outside of that circle, everybody saw that video of you and Gabriel on the range. You know, I was the guy in the background saying, "I have nipples, Greg, can you milk me?"
Yeah.
And, I don't know who the bad guys are anymore, no or who the good guys are anymore. None of them. That was me,
Yeah.
right? I was there, and that was a a massive celebration of you getting your Second Amendment rights back. And I will never forget, I seriously, it's burned in my mind the day you posted the letter from the judge. And then what was it like 3 days after you've got your brand new AR-15 that you built from the
Well,
ground up?
it was like a couple weeks.
Yeah,
It did take, so, like, the process of, like, I was worried about getting a gun because I was like, "Man, I don't know if
sure.
it's," but I
What's
guess
the
the thing is,
DOJ, the NICS system? Yeah,
I hit up Jay, he ran me through the system, and he said, "You don't show up, so the only thing you can do is go try," and I guess what they do is
yeah.
they hold off on giving you the paperwork, like,
Mhm.
when that motion gets done, they approve it, and then they don't really send it, I guess, until they're sure it's out of the system. Like, they do a really good job apparently at the courthouse. This is according
Court
to
system.
people that I've talked to, that they
Yeah.
try to do a good job of making sure that's all taken care of instead of you getting the paperwork and it's not having gone through yet. And then you go try to get a gun. And then, I mean, the day I went up there to buy the gun that I bought, when I got my pistol, the ATF was auditing the gun shop. So I was like, oh shit, maybe I ought to come back later. This seems like a sign that there's like, you know, the
It's amazing.
Federalskis are here.
That
But
is amazing, dude. I didn't know that.
yeah, it's been cool, and then, like, I got delayed. I still get delayed, because it's sort of become a thing. Like, I've bought in several guns now, and I built
That's
2
probably
rifles,
why.
and
Yeah, they I there's a lot of theories on that, and I've known people in law enforcement. I actually knew somebody back in the day who worked for the ATF as well, and um it's kind of like the social media shadow banning in a way where like
mhm.
there's no written nothing written on it, but if you buy more than like two or three in a week, or if you go in and buy three at a time, which again is legal in Kansas, where I'm from originally, California, no 10-day wait, all sorts of
Yeah.
other BS red tape, which is why when I got to Kansas I was super pumped about that. But there's some sort of flag or whatever, and who knows if that's real or not, but yeah, I mean, going back to it, like the fact that you got you got all your rights back. I did not know that your record was completely erased, because I don't know about that process either. I've always heard about expungement, about like how when you're no longer classified as a felon, you're now eligible for more things in society, but I never knew what those things were. I knew about, the profiling. If they scan your plate, boom, comes up, hey, so a felon just drove by, or well, here's the charges. Like they know that when they look your plate up. But um that is incredible, and amazing too that that's in Kansas, Wyandotte County. I feel like that's a huge education piece for everybody, and I
Yeah.
love how you've been approached as well. So I got to ask you, we never really talked about it on the show actually ever, but like as far as guns go, like what are you into, man? Like what are your favorite calibers? Yeah, I can vouch for you. You're an absolute dead eye on the range, so
I,
you're proficient, which is
thank you.
awesome. But
Thank you. Never
yeah,
lost it. But, well, it was weird because went to the gun shop, and I had a buddy who, he had a 6-hour 365,
hmm,
and I really liked that, and then I put money. I basically bought one and was waiting on the delay, right?
yeah,
Or I was waiting to get my ID, because I had to get my ID changed because I never put my new address on my license, right?
right,
So,
yeah,
I went and did that, and then I went back and they had this other model, which was the Fuse, which was, it's got a Romeo X optic. It's a little longer, which I liked because I don't like the little tiny guns. Even though they're for carrying, I don't care for them. So I bought that. I switched and bought that Fuse, and then I wanted an AR, but instead of buying one, I was like, "Well, I'm gonna build one because I build stuff." You know what I mean? So
yeah,
let me try
buddy.
that. So I
Yep.
put together a pretty I mean, you've seen it, but I went kind of full blown and just
Yes,
made it
sir.
happen. Bought some nice parts, and I built what I like to call the Call of Duty loadout, basically. I bought the EO Tech, and I bought ridiculous things that I don't need, but I
That's
wanted, you know what I
that's
mean?
why I have EOTechs. It was
Yeah.
from Call of Duty. Call of
Yeah.
Duty, you shot my Scorpion. You know
Yeah.
why I have that? From Black Ops. And I
Right.
tell people, the first time I shot a lot of my guns, it was with a controller. My Beretta 92, right? Die Hard originally, but then in the first Call of Duty, I was like, "Whoa, this is cool." And then you do the research on these platforms, and it's like, yeah, that would be cool to try out. And in fact, one of my first ARs was the exact pattern. I did flat darker Cerakote on the lower, but I had a black upper, so it
Yeah.
looked like the one in Modern Warfare. I
Yeah. Yeah.
designed it after a video game. I get that, bro. Sorry, I took us on
No,
a
you're
rabbit hole
good.
there, but
Uh,
yeah. So you
and
did
that's
the
what
Call of
people
Duty
like.
loadout.
It's like fun to like, customize it and make it, but
Yeah,
so I bought like a sniper gray. I found sniper gray Cerakoted upper and lower from Aero Precision. And then
yeah,
I just went around town to like, I tried to, I bought that stuff offline. And
hmm
then everything else, the EOTech I bought off a website because I didn't have the Jack Cheddar in hand, so I used my PayPal credit.
yeah,
So because that thing's pricey, you know what I mean?
yeah. Big
Um,
time.
but I everything else I bought locally. Like I went to Eagle Armory and I just started
Hey,
talking to
shout
those
out to those
guys.
guys. I love
Yeah.
those guys. The one in Lenexa here on
Yep.
87th.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
they're
Really
they're
good.
great, great dudes.
I went there and then there's another spot in North Kansas City called North KC Tactical, and
Okay,
those guys rule, and they have a lot of parts, because they actually gunsmith there. And so
right.
I just went
Yeah,
there and I got some parts there. I got some parts at Eagle, and then I actually bought there's like a whole debacle. So I have 2 ARs now because I order from Arrow, and then my neighbor, who's a friend of my dad's, has a FFL, so he was gonna do the transfer for me.
yeah,
Well, it had been like a month, and the Arrow told me it was gonna be another month, so I just went and bought a lower from across town,
yeah,
and then the next day, I called Arrow back because it was after they had closed, and I was like, "Hey, just cancel that." They're like, "Oh, we shipped it this morning," and it's like, "Well, you told me it's gonna be 4 more weeks, dude." So then I ended up with 2 lowers, so I was like, "Okay, well, I'll just
might as well. Yeah,
might as well," so then I
yeah,
put together like a little, AR pistol, uh,
yeah.
'cause I'm not bold, like, I'm not ready to put my name on one of them government lists of having a
Oh, and
uh,
SBR.
an
Yeah,
SBR. Yeah.
yeah. I know, man. Well, even with the tax stamp removed, it's hilarious because they're like, tax stamps are $0, and I'm like, yeah, but the tax stamp is unconstitutional. like,
Yeah,
like
it's a
you couldn't just remove it. It's still got to have a national registry. So
yeah, yeah, that's the part that I don't like, which
yeah,
obviously our pistols, when you buy a gun, it's registered, you know what I mean? But
yeah,
that's a whole different deal when it's like, "Oh, I have this exact gun," because the rules, like, everybody's trying to get silencers now.
yep.
Dog, my buddy did the wiring in the shop for me, and he put an FRT in his, which is a force return trigger for the people that are watching that don't
And it's
know.
legal. It's
It's
100%
legal.
legal. YouTube algorithm gods. It's legal. Go ahead, buddy.
It's well, the way it
All the
functions is
guys with
weird.
FRT videos, they all preface their videos with that.
Yeah.
So,
That and it's weird because it's basically like they just took the idea of a bump stock. People are just
change the location of it.
what do they say that like regulation creates ingenuity, right? So like
Something like that,
they
yeah.
outlawed the bump stock. And so somebody said, "Well, what if we made the bump stock but if it was just in the trigger?" And that's all
Yeah,
they did. They took the bump stock idea and made it into a trigger. But they put a silencer on his gun, his rifle, before they shot it. And
uh-huh.
while he was doing the wiring, because he was like, "Hey, why don't you?" I was like, "Bring your gun, and I'll clean it for you." He's like, "All right." And I took it apart. That thing was so filthy. I was just immediately I
Yeah.
went, "Oh, I don't need a silencer. I don't need that."
Yeah, well, mine, which you got to try out,
Yeah.
I'm at the point now where there's like, yeah, I mean, almost 1,000 rounds, and there's a lot of debate on like how often you have to clean your guns, but the BCG always gets filthy with the
Right.
suppressor, and that's why too. I was telling you guys like, if you're gonna upgrade from an AR, get something with a piston system because
Right.
then less of the gas. And again, that's the one of the reasons why I like AKs. I know you don't like AKs, bro, but
Yeah.
hey, that piston, that's hard to beat. But yeah, they get filthy. And it's one of those things like being from behind enemy lines in California, like couldn't own
Yeah.
anything. And I always honored the laws there, even, felt like a moron with my 10 round magazines and all that stuff. But, um, it's one of those things where it's like out here, like I know guys, they've got bolt rifles and they put suppressors on them because, there's a cool factor. There's also the sound thing is a big deal, especially if you're trying to sit out there and you're listening for things and you don't want hearing protection on, and then you got to take that shot. It's a lot better. But yeah,
I could see it on a bolt rifle, on the ARs, on the semi-auto rifles. I don't It's just a fun thing. That's all it is. You're just doing it
yeah,
for fun. You know what I mean? And
yeah,
it's
for
cool. Like
sure.
I think it makes sense on your short barrel rifle, right? Because those
Yeah.
things get real. Because my short barrel rifle is super freaking loud. And it's
Yeah.
like, or my excuse me, my
Your
AR
10
pistol, my
10.5, yeah,
10.5, and that's not even
yeah,
as short as yours. Like, and my buddy's like, you should have went shorter. I'm like, dude, I'm good. Like, this is fine. This will work. And that
yeah,
gun, I put a bunch of like I bought some cheaper parts for that one just at the gun show, But I
yeah.
and it's not that like like I'll shoot a AK, like it's whatever, but like I'm like my
I
whole
know.
thing is
You're
like,
just giving me problems, bro.
yeah, I am. I'm just messing with you guys. But my thing is that like I became a real like I had a Smith& and Wesson back in the day. The last time I owned a firearm, they had just come out with the M&P edition Smith& and Wessons. So it was like a big deal because that was like when composite guns first started like getting
Yep.
steam, and there was no
Polymer
it was a
frame.
right, polymer frame, no safety. That was like a big deal, and I
Yep.
had that, and it's like
"This is my safety, sir," right, from Black
right,
Hawk Down.
right. But excuse me. That's the last time I owned a gun, and that was, like, over 20 that was 20 years ago, I think,
Yeah,
almost exactly, and then but I became I'm a big, like, made in America guy, so,
big
like,
time, bro.
I'm also
Yep.
big on, like, practicing what I preach, so, like,
Yes,
if
sir.
I can like, a lot of the parts I bought were from small companies that make, like, Sons of Liberty Gun Works out of Texas makes barrels, and I bought a barrel
Yeesh.
from them,
Oh my
and then
god.
I
I
got a
didn't know that
Bravo.
was your barrel.
Yeah, that's where
Dude,
I got that barrel
that's
for my
one of the
rifle.
best, if not the best barrel you can
Right,
buy.
and then I
Yeah.
got a Bravo company handguard, and there's that small company, Live Free or Die Co. that makes the grips and
Kung Fu grip, baby.
that little tiger claw thing I got on the front there.
Yeah,
So I try to buy that's why EOTech is so expensive because they're 100% made in America, and
that's right.
they also don't sell to like foreign people. Like they only their big contract is the government. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're ITAR regulations for
Which I'm
sure.
not a big government guy, but I'm saying what to sum it up is like if you're gonna say that you love America, then I expect you to try to buy American as much as possible in anything. Like I get
Absolutely.
it. Like, I sell t-shirts. An American made t-shirt is super expensive. They're getting more affordable. They are figuring
That's
those
good.
things out. I've watched that market like the margin is starting to close, right? On the American made stuff to the foreign made
Right.
stuff, right?
Right.
So,
Absolutely.
one day I hope that that'll happen, but it's yeah, so I think that's a big thing. We If we want manufacturing to come back to America, we have to engage in the process. And people always go, okay, it's this much more. It's like, well, dude, you'll it's like I tell people because I joined the gun range, right? It's Frontier Justice. It's not far away, and for the money, it's the best deal you can get at a indoor. I checked. I went around, checked all the indoor ranges. I get to take my girlfriend, or I could take you with me at any time. I can have
Yes,
one
sir.
free guest at all times. I get discounts. I get discounts on classes. I got a discount on my concealed carry course. But I can go and buy 100 rounds of 9mm for $20, and then I go in there and I buy a target for $1 because I get targets for cheap, and then I'll shoot 100 rounds, and then I leave. And then everybody, like, Gabriel keeps telling me, "Oh, we're not rich like you," and it's like, "Well, no, dude. Like, I just you know,
I'm not rich either.
I'm not right.
I
I'm
just
not
I
rich
just laugh
either,
when he says that. I
but
go,
I don't smoke weed anymore. I haven't, I don't drink. I don't I don't chew, I don't do Zins and all these other I don't smoke. I used to smoke. Like, I don't do any of this stuff that, like, really is like it's like, "Hey, dude, if you just didn't eat out to lunch 2 days a week,
That's
you
right.
could all like, if every week, instead of eating out lunch for some shit food that's killing you could take that same 20 bucks, and that would buy your ammo and pay for your range membership, and you could go," and that's why I tell people, "Go to the gun range." Like,
Yeah.
go to the range. You guys have literally watched me over the last month as we've engaged in this. We have a group chat again now, but, like, I keep
Yeah.
getting better, and then I bought another pistol. I have a SIG 320 now, which is all tricked out. I've got a compensator. I bought one with a threaded, like, I literally have the same gun that guy in Minnesota had on him that just got killed yesterday. I
Jeez.
have the only difference is mine has the polymer frame. His is the more expensive one with the metal chassis.
Yeah, he was,
But I have
he
the exact
concealed
same gun.
carrier or something.
Yeah, yeah, which is, like, also crazy, like, we're living in, like, this is, like, we're living in a crazy world where, like, I'm watching people be like, "Hell yeah, that guy." It's like, dude, I
Brother.
don't remember when punk rock was, like, supporting the government at all, and, like,
I
nobody should
know.
be, like,
No one.
no, like, if they shot a lady through her car window, then they've shot a guy who they had face down on the ground. They took a they pistol whipped the guy. Like, since when can the cops pistol whip you? That seems crazy to me.
Yeah,
It's
I think Gabriel posted a video of it. I mean, it's like
yeah.
these guys are, on the scene. I mean, it didn't look like they had training or that they were interested in using it at all.
No, no, they don't. They keep
You
hiring
know?
just random. You and I could apply right now, get a $50,000 sign on bonus, and that's what they're doing. They're going to, like, they're attracting the worst of the worst, you know what I mean? And, like, it's it's that's a problem. Like, I have my own thoughts on all this stuff, and I
Yeah.
don't I don't, I don't claim allegiance to any. I'm more like of I'm more of an anarchist at this point than anything, where I feel like we should all be able to do what we want, and, like, as long as you don't hurt nobody else, like, it should
Right.
be chill, right? Like, everybody should live
Yeah.
off that. There's basic societal rules that if we all follow, things go really smoothly. Like, stop, but I'm watching a total degradation of, like, everything. Nobody wants to stop at stop signs. Nobody obeys traffic laws. Like, those are the things that, like, matter, and, like, if everybody can agree on these simple things, like, as it goes up the ladder, things get easier. But, I mean, in my mind, like, instead of, like, sure, is the sum 0 of, like, really bad hombres that they're trying to go arrest? No, there are undoubtedly some, but could local law enforcement be tasked with, like, handling that stuff? Probably, and we
That
wouldn't
has
be.
been the most compelling argument that I've heard. I mean, yeah, Rand Paul of all people, I heard talking about that the other day, and I know people on all sides of political belief are like, equip local law enforcement, you know?
Right. We would it would remove this thing of, like, going to get a guy who did some heinous crimes, right? And then taking his entire family who are working and paying taxes here, you know what I mean?
Right.
Because all that stuff changed, right? Like, they made it so that immigrants could get temporary status, or they were, like, my neighbors are guys on temp visas that work for the guy that owns the house. He owns a stone company. They do stone work. And
Right.
so every year these guys show up, and when their visa expires, they go back to Mexico for 6 months. He helps them get
Yep.
another visa, and then they come back.
That's a
And
TN visa, right? It's, for Canada and Mexico, I believe.
I
It's
think
a
so, yeah.
relatively expedited process as far as
Yeah,
those processes go. Yeah, in employment law, I remember I used to help folks. I mean, H-1B is like a totally different thing, but like TN is, something that is they've really gotten that process down.
right.
Yeah.
And, like, this guy's entire workforce is like that, right? And the guys that are
Yep.
here now, like, because what people are guess, like, if you do it that way, you do that so many times, and then it's easier to become a citizen. But what we should really be doing is saying, like, "Okay, how do we make these people how do we get these people a path to citizenship? And
Yep.
if we want people to assimilate to our culture in certain aspects, right? Like if all these people want all these people to speak English, then we need to put aside some resources to make that like, hey, here's this mandatory class that you go to, and we'll teach you how to, at a minimum, speak English. You don't have to know
Yeah.
how to write it, but if you knew how to read it, it would be better. But if you could speak it, even, you know what I
Just
mean?
to
It would
start.
make their
Yeah.
life easier. Because that's another thing. Like, imagine driving. There's always that thing about like Asians are bad drivers. It's like, well, are they bad drivers in Asia, or do they just not know the rules of the road here?
Right. Yeah, that's profound.
That's what I always wonder. Like,
I was laughing because Stephanie and I, my wife, we were watching Kill Tony the other day, and it was the one that they did on Netflix, and they had a Asian comic on, and it was really, it was just so funny. I love that show, but yeah, no, you make a good point, dude. It's like, uh, uh, if folks are here, they're paying taxes, their kids are going to school, like they're part of the community, right?
they're
And
spending money here.
they're spending
Now,
money on
there are
local
a lot of
businesses,
immigrants
and
that send money back home, right? Like that's always going to be a thing. People are going to
sure,
send American money abroad, but
right,
uh, they're not like, especially like if you're going to be business minded, which I've been trying to become more business minded, and learning as I on this journey of being a business owner. But
yeah,
like, you can't like. We need to stop, like, we give all this foreign aid. They call it foreign aid, and it's really not foreign aid. It's like government pay, whatever it is, man. It's all corruption, and it's stupid, and we shouldn't be giving money to Israel. We shouldn't be giving money to the Ukraine. We didn't That Ukraine mess, like, when you dive deep into that, that's like a whole weird thing that involved Crimea and, like, all this other stuff, and, like, Vice did some very like, the old Vice prior to,
the
like,
old
Vice
Vice,
going
yes.
the old Vice, prior to Vice being, like, corporate as hell and then just making dumbass shows about food, um, they did that Vice guide to everything, or, the Vice travel guide, and there is one where they're in Crimea when Crimea decided they wanted to rejoin Russia. Russia didn't
Mm,
make them decide that. Crimea decided that. And then
right,
the day Crimea joined Russia, Russia had weapons on the banks of the water pointed at the Ukraine. Because
right.
that was over a decade ago that I watched that
I
thing.
know,
You know what I
man.
mean?
I
So
know.
it's like we get involved. Everybody wants to be some geopolitical analyst. Everybody's a law expert. Everybody's a this. And it's like, this shit has been going on forever. It just we didn't have nobody had cameras in their hand,
That's right. Yeah,
and
yeah.
nobody's gonna convince me that the only president we've had that's cared about Americans and about, like, bettering it for our people, they killed him in the middle of a parade 60 years ago. And since
Right.
then, no one has cared. They've just kept the war machine going.
Well, who was it? Was it Ford who warned against the military? No, it was Kennedy. Kennedy
Well,
warned
Kennedy
us against the
started it.
military industrial complex.
FDR did it, I
FDR.
believe.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to
After
fact
World
check
War II,
myself
yeah,
later, but
after World War II,
yep.
Kennedy's whole deal was like, again, every time somebody starts talking about going off the gold standard, they get rid of them. I watched, dude. I always tell people, like, if you want to see the biggest chicanery we ever did, then go learn about Gaddafi. Go learn about
Yeah.
Gaddafi, because that was a guy who was on some shit. He was on some bad hombre stuff. Um, Started having a change of heart, and then really, like, was turning it around and realized, like, oh, my people have the power. We don't have to fall to these governments and these other people. Like, dude, people were living good. That was like a progressive part of the world. They were semi-westernized. They had everyone had free oil. Like, it's pretty interesting. And
I need to
then
look that up. I know
the
nothing
minute they're
about it.
not the minute our bad guys aren't bad guys, then the CIA likes to go overthrow them. Like, if you in the '70s, a lot of the Middle East was semi-westernized. Like, all the, like, the
I've
way
seen
people
the
dress
pictures of
now, like
Iran.
Afghan you're right.
The
You're
pictures of
right.
Iran have been coming up like crazy, yeah, because of
Right.
all the protests, and
Right.
yeah,
And
they look
and
like
and
Americans
we've
basically,
allowed it to be
two-piece
we've
swimsuits and
created
all
the
that.
terror state in the Middle East. We created that. Our government created the terrors. The Middle East has been a terror state for how many years? My entire life, you hear about like Back to the Future. Who do they buy the plutonium from? The Libyans. You know what I mean? And
Right,
like it's so
right.
like it's
I
like a
never
it's
realized
always
that.
dude. Think about all those action movies, right? Like
Yep,
I'll go as far as telling you that you can't convince me that Call of Duty isn't funded partially by the government
right.
and
Oh,
games
yeah,
like
well,
that.
it's absolutely a mechanism for recruitment, right?
Right.
I always think of Rambo 3. Do you remember Rambo 3 when it was the Russians were in Afghanistan and
Yeah, and
Rambo
we were
goes
helped
to
right.
help the Mujahideen, right?
Yeah.
It's
Right.
like
And we did that. Our government did that in real life.
right,
That's
right.
where we
It's wild,
trained
dude.
those guys. And then, you know what I mean? And it's that's the craziness about it. But then we make that guy a martyr. See what I'm saying? Like we help them, and then we turn, you know what I mean? We turn old Osama bin Laden into a martyr for his cause. You know what I'm saying? Like we trained that guy to be what he was, and then we did the same thing to them that we did to everyone else. And then they go, okay, well, screw you
Yeah.
then.
I what's been hitting me lately, and this is my frustration as somebody who has this really inconvenient strength to people on both sides where I can see both sides, and it's never welcomed by either side.
No, not at all.
And I can see things from everybody's point of view, and that does not mean that I'm neutral. Just because I've been registered as quote undecided since I was 18, even coming to Kansas, I have not registered as a Republican or a Democrat. I refuse to register to a party. Like I've had this conversation with Gabriel, be it in the past, but like I can't even call myself a libertarian. Like I have a thing about titles, right? But the thing that has been really, it just hurts my heart really. And then I get angry too, is how when people are so invested into their guy or their party, they no longer can acknowledge that person could be wrong, right? Or the thing that I'm getting at with this as we talk about world of events, like when Venezuela happened a few weeks ago, I'm like, how has nobody noticed yet that every time there is something that happens where America's being world police, that it is actually not about what the media and everybody is telling us. Like, for example, like Venezuela, the whole thing was drugs. Well, as you start to drill down, you go, oh, there's a lot of gold there. There's a lot of oil there. Like,
Right.
does this not read almost exactly like Iraq, weapons of mass destruction, which again, we go back, we see, okay, there was no evidence of that, right? But like, we can't acknowledge that it's so messy. I'm starting to lose my point here, but my point being is that folks have not caught the pattern yet. And, you know, hey, boomers, I'm talking to you as well here, right? Like, I mean, it we can no longer just believe everything we see. Especially with AI now too. I'm seeing articles like a funny one was the amount of snow Russia got last week. Did you see the AI
Yeah.
generated image of the
Right.
basically the Matterhorn going up over and kids sliding down the sides of buildings? It's getting so confusing, but the fact that folks critical thought, that's where I'm going with this, Tyler. And I appreciate you
Right.
just listening to me right now. But
No,
critical thought goes out the window. And
and that's it. That's what I'm saying. That was
yeah,
my, it's no different than the Libyan thing, the Syrian thing, the
yep.
Afghanistan thing. The problem we have now is like people are catching on, I think, and it's making them engage in these things. Boom, 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 boom. Where they have to move on to the next thing quick, because if
Mhm.
they let people rest on it, then you know what I mean.
Yeah.
It, it, uh, you know, they that guy, we've had some pretty weird events happen where that guy shot that CEO in the middle of the street. Not cool. I mean, people talk about like CEOs. Well, I'm technically a CEO of two different companies, right? Like, they
Right.
don't get what that means. Like, they don't understand that. Like, was that guy the head of an insurance company, and do they kind of suck? Yeah, they do. They do a lot. And the only way that changes is that's something that needs to be regulated better. That's where
Absolutely.
that's where regulation comes in. It's just like how labor unions made it so that like workers had rights, you know? And I'm not a big union guy either. Um, but it's we just live in this time where all this crazy shit's happening. Charlie Kirk gets killed. So one side is like praising that that guy got killed. You know, there's only one side that keeps praising about these assassinations, and then the other side does the same thing.
Yeah.
And now and then you know, it's just they don't understand that they're being duped against each other. And like right now, and I've seen people post, and they better like everybody better stand up for like their gun rights now after what happened yesterday, because if you like the things they're saying are crazy. The things I see people put where they're like, read some guy that I've known my whole life put something about nobody needs to carry a gun like that. It's like, hey hombre,
Gosh,
that's
bro.
like every gun that you go get has that. They put an optic on there to make it safer. It makes it safer. It makes it it makes it easier and safer to protect yourself, but also it's because we can. And that's the thing.
Yep.
We can. And it doesn't matter.
Exactly. It is
That
a
guy could have had
right.
he could have had an AR strapped around his shoulder, because a few years ago there was a guy that had an AR wrapped around his shoulder, and he ended up killing 3 people. And people you know, you can feel about that however you want. That was a whole messy situation, you know what I mean? But at the end of the day, he was able to do that because of the Second Amendment, and those other people also had guns. So that's the deal. They want us all to start engaging in civil war, because then they can really bring the hammer down on us. But I think you'd be hard pressed to get people like we're already seeing where the police in that town are going to turn on the federal agents, probably, right? Like we in Minnesota. And then
Yeah.
I think you'd be pretty hard pressed to get like actual military people, like to get them to come into America and like they would have to hire foreign private military contractors if we had a civil war, because I don't think the actual grunts in the military would turn on their own families like they did. You know,
Yeah.
I don't think that's a possibility. But right now, after that, it's like, dude, okay, so the guy had a gun that had an optic on it, and um, they're like, "Oh, it's a this and that Sig Sauer Scorpion." It's like, yeah, okay, like they all have weird names. Like that's what they do. They give guns weird names. Like
That's right.
why
Yeah.
cops are walking around with fully automatic rifles now, like regular police officers. They give them full autos, just like the military. Like cops have been doing all this stuff. Like whatever the government's allowed to have, we should be able to have equal or better. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I want
Because
get that Apache helicopter in the garage at Blackmagick Customs.
yeah, yeah. Well, dude, I just like, yeah, you know, it's just crazy to me that like people lost sight of that. It's like, well, the guy, like, there's a lot of trust in the government, and they don't understand. Like, the government was made to like, you pay a little bit of taxes, and we keep care of the highways and the infrastructure and all that. Uh, they didn't intend on us to like fund wars in the Holy Land to like, you know, people have been fighting over there for how many years now? Dude, it's great. I could, you know me. I could lead you down all the conspiracies of like, how is there a Jewish lady president of Mexico all of a sudden, and like,
Dude, well, I do want to say just one quick thought too to put a end cap on what you were just talking about, and then I want to give you a few minutes here to talk about Blackmagick
but
Customs
yeah,
and close us out today, right? Because I'm gonna have you back on the show. That's the thing. You're gonna be a regular, so we shortened our episode time so that we
I
have
like it.
more of that freedom, right? So, an end cap to what you're saying, you know this, and this is what I want everybody who thinks about people who carry guns to consider. You know this, Tyler, when you go into your concealed carry course and you start to actually think about this. You and I talked about concealed carry insurance, right? Like the aftermath. When you start carrying a gun or when you learn martial arts or both, you actually become one of the most civilized people in public. You actually become one of the nicest guys anyone's ever met if you actually paid attention to those things and you understand what the decision to use a firearm in a deadly confrontation is. You become very civil. Like me, when I've talked about this on the show before, uh, when I'm driving down the road, when I'm away from my family, my mission is to get home safe to my family.
Yeah.
When I'm with my family, my mission is to protect my family. When I am on the road and some jackass cuts me off, I'm like, hey, go ahead. Yeah, it's cool, dude. It's all good. It's all good.
Yeah.
Go ahead. You go ahead. I'm not going to engage somebody like that. I have too much to lose. Life is way too precious to get in an argument. I've actually gotten to this point in my life, Tyler, now where like I actually pride myself on the amount of confrontations I've avoided, that I've used my language and my wits. Braveheart, he said, it's our wits that make us men, right? Like, you people need to understand that like if you carry a gun, it doesn't mean you think you're a badass. Now, there are bad apples out there, but like most of us, we are tax paying family people that just want to work and get home alive at the end of the day, just like everybody else. So having said all that, bro, like, that's been another change that's happened. So since you were last on the show is Blackmagick Customs. And like you shared, did you get sponsorship from that company with the welding, the TIG and MIG welder, or what,
Kind
what,
of my
what's
my
going on with your equipment, bro? You're adding all these
um
assets. You're fixing up the
I
shop,
got
bro.
I have a good friend of mine, old friend of mine. He is the sales rep and like the training guy, and he does the YouTube. Jesse McCollum, for
Shout.
Everlast. And I hit up Jesse and was like, "Hey, dude, like, you know, I I need a I need something better than this old Lincoln I've had probably." And he's like, "Oh, you need one of these." And was telling me about it. And I was like, "Well, what's that cost me?" And he's like, "Well, just probably just a trip up here." So we went up there, and then now we've like sent a proposal out with Zoink Pad, like doing a bunch of artwork for them and like graphic design
Nice.
stuff. So they're a growing company, and I will say, like, the technology that they have, like laser, like he had this laser welder, and I did one weld with it, and I did almost like a perfect dime stack bead with it. It was crazy. They have this laser cleaning tool. So
What's the
Everlast, if you're
company
in
again? Did you already
Everlast, Everlast, if you're in the
Everlast?
market for a welder, I highly recommend looking at Everlast. They are affordable, and they're like super high quality. Jesse's here. They offer like demos and training for like if you're like a company and I would I've used everything. And I used to like Lincoln welders a lot, and then over the years they've made everything so automated with these damn welders now. You can't
Mm,
even adjust the settings. Like all the Miller MIG welders, they're called they have this like auto weld thing, and it like auto adjusts no matter what you set it on. And like if you're a welder, you don't want that. You want to be able to set your settings. And
right.
that Everlast welder is really nice. I hooked it up and got it running, and then welded some stuff. Was like, whoa, this is like a whole new level of like precision tuning that you can do with it. So Jesse hooked me up with that, and we're actually like the first car thing coming back to the YouTube is going to be Jesse has this old what is it, a Falcon, like Ranchero, like a '60s Ranchero, and another buddy of ours had it and chopped the top on it back in the day. And so Jesse got a new roof to redo the chop and like make it so he could have a back window and stuff in it. So him and I sort of like we're gonna do it down there, film it for my YouTube and for Everlast YouTube, and then we're gonna do the whole thing. We're gonna get the roof on it. We're gonna do a cool custom paint job on it, and that's gonna leave. And I've got some jobs coming in. I have one thing left to like. I gotta finish putting the exhaust work on the paint booth. I actually painted the inside of the paint booth on Friday. We did that before we left for the weekend, and I got
Nice.
everything ready to go. So I'm waiting on PPG to bring me the liquid materials for the mixing bank, but they got me the computer. They got me all the stuff put in one day, and I got a contract signed with them, and they've been really good to me. I've been using PPG since I got into the industry, like for when I do custom stuff. And the rep's really cool. The old rep I knew, Roger, he passed away. And then the new guy, Andrew, he's always taking care of me. And then my sales rep, this guy Dave Tinoco, I've known him since I was like 20 years old. Because he's
Wow.
been in the industry that long. And so Dave has always taken care of me. They do me right. And the paint supply shop's like, less than a mile away from the shop, so that works out. But the big goal now is
Sure.
just, like, get it rocking and rolling. I actually, I, like, gave the shop I work at, like, a 6 months heads up, and we had this whole thing going, and then, like, we were supposed to, like, get back together, me and the owner, and talk about it, and then they just decided to put up a help wanted ad and hired
Your
somebody.
full-time gig, that
Yeah,
whole
yeah, and
thing?
then they
Yeah.
hired somebody, and they're like, "Well, this guy's got a couple months where he's gotta finish up some stuff that he's got," and I'm like, "Okay, but, like, we talked about 6 months, and that was a month ago, and now it's like,
Mm,
we thought you'd be ready to go, like, at the end of the month." It's like, "Not really." So now I'm like, I'm back on, trying to figure out a new plan of action because I just need to be able to pay my bills. Like, I'll
right,
grit and grime and get by. That's not a problem for me. I've been doing it forever, but
right,
I'm real excited to, like, finally have the freedom to, like, do the stuff I want and, like, not it's at the same building that Zoink Pad's in. It's just in a different part
right,
of it. And so the
right.
landlord, she's really cool because, like, I cleaned up the space. I've done nothing but better everything that we like. Even Zoink Pad was like a shithole when we started, right? And now you open the door and it's like walking into like it's like a whole nother world when you get out of the hallway of this like old factory, and
Right.
so it's cool. I'm excited. And hopefully in the next 2 months, I can get it to where that's just all I'm doing. Because it's also 10 blocks from my house. Not even 10 blocks from my house, the
Wow.
shop is. So I can, like I'm trying to worry this is what I'll leave people on about politics and, like, the world and what we do, right? It's like, instead of worrying about what's happening in parts of the world where you've never been, you never plan on going, you don't even really care about, you're just engaging in this discourse to be an asshole or whatever you're doing, right? Like, just fake amount of caring. Like, you should really start worrying about, like, the, place you live. So I always tell people, like, if I worry about the from 18th Street to 1st Street, from from Parallel Parkway to Central, right? If I worry about that area, my neighborhood and the surrounding neighborhoods, if I worry about the area I live in, where I shop at, where I do all my shit at, if I can make change there, right? And me and all my neighbors, if we can make a decent place to live, then we might be able to change things in our county together. And then if as a county you guys can make things better, then you can probably change things on a state level, and then if you make things better in your state, then you can probably help make things better on a in another state. And then if you do that with enough other states, you guys can get together and make things better on a national level. And then we're good. But until you do that, like, don't worry about, you know, other shit. Like, worry, like, go feed the homeless guy. Like, so many of these people will tell me all this stuff about we must do this and that. And it's like, yeah, but you'll shit on homeless people. Like, I don't get it. I I have a relative they claim that they are like super liberal, right? They say they are. I watch them like destroy. There's a guy that lived under a bridge by my buddy's bar, lived there for years. Never doesn't make a mess, never hurt nobody. He's what I like to call an urban outdoorsman. He's just a guy who,
I love
whatever
that.
in life, right? He does best in that's how he does life, right? And you can't
Yeah,
those are just people living off the land, you know what I mean? Really. And they went and waited for that guy to go out for the day and tore all of his shit down and threw it in a dumpster and threw all of his stuff away. And she was proud of it. And she goes on about how my tax dollars aren't going to help these homeless people. I'm going, dude, you're supposed to, like, you talk to me about how you help out at the food pantry and like the soup kitchen. It's like, and then you're gonna turn around and you're gonna like throw this guy's shit. I was like appalled to be like, I was just like, this does not add up, man. So like, that's the best we can do is like treat people good, take care of your family first. Take care of other people when you can. Help your friends when you can. I'm guilty of like trying to do too much for people, and then I get burnt out. You know what I
sure.
mean? So
Yeah,
I'm currently on a hiatus from until I have my shop going. I can't help anyone else right now. I have to help myself, and that's a big lesson that everyone needs to learn too. Is like, hey, stop worrying about other things when we don't. You don't have your own shit in order. Like, you can't help other people unless your own shit's in order, and, no matter what happens, you can always make a comeback. because that's what I've learned. No matter what happens, doesn't matter. I mean, there to an extent, like, obviously, there's some felonies that you're not gonna come back from, but no matter what happens, it's never too late to chase your dream, and it's never too late to turn it around. Like, you can never. And I've had people my whole life telling me, "Oh, you're too old to do this. Oh, you should have done this when you were 20." It's like, well, what's it matter? It doesn't matter. If you wanna do something, just do it. You just do it, you know? And then
That
that's how
is,
you got to doing this. That's how I got to doing what I do. You just you decide you wanna do something, you do it, and you don't care about what people think, and you don't care about what people say, and, like, so many people are gonna be negative to you about it because in that most of that negativity when it comes from people you know is jealousy, and they're just jealous because they see you doing things and then they're not doing nothing. They're doing nothing, you know what I mean? And life's
absolutely.
too short to do nothing.
It is, man. And Tyler, I am so grateful uh that I get to call you a friend and a brother, man. I appreciate you helping me by coming on the show. Um, I appreciate just everything you're doing in our community, man. And that was one of the most powerful sign out messages I think that's ever happened on the show. So I'm going to let it sit there, and we'll have you back on again March, April, figure it out.
Cool.
Um,
Oh, you mean after I go beat Gabriel in the shooting contest that we've been talking about?
oh yeah, yeah. What are we
Yeah.
going to do? A 3 gun? We're going to try a pistol, rifle, shotgun. Let's do it, man.
Well, we already know about shotguns. We know what shotguns are. I'm not shooting no shotguns. This guy's into shotguns.
Well, one with a stock on it, right?
It's, dude.
The pistol grip shotgun game is good for movies. I mean, it's
Yeah,
not
I
really
just
fun
don't.
in real life.
Yeah, I don't. Just in general, I'm not a. I
Yeah,
just don't. Because I don't hunt. You know what I mean? I don't even eat meat.
yeah,
That's what people are like. What do you? You don't even. You know. It's like I
yeah.
don't know. I
Nah,
watched this
dude,
YouTube video. Of these guys on a hunting trip. My girlfriend's like, you don't even hunt. I'm like, yeah, I know. I'm just watching this thing
dude,
though.
learn.
Just,
You know,
yeah, I'm just seeing what they're doing. Like,
big time, man. Well, hey, we'll talk more next time. And I know with the way you progress and you focus and you have people in your community and you've got a good team, man, of people that are able to rally with you. Very excited to talk next time, hear about what's going on with Blackmagick Customs, Zoink Pad, and Blackmagick TV will be the
yeah, it's
forum that you
coming back. I
document
promise. I
everything.
keep saying
Oh
that
yeah,
it's coming back.
hey,
It's gonna come
you're
back.
bro, you ain't gonna get no shit from me, dude. I
I
just took a
started working on a part in my
hey,
house so I could do interviews in it because I don't have
yeah,
the basement and like
yeah,
we start.
huh?
I
I
enacted
know it's
that,
coming
but
back, dude.
yeah,
I got you, dude. Yeah,
yep.
you know the game and how it is. So hey, thanks everybody for listening in. Again, hope you guys like the new format. Hope you like the fact that, these conversations aren't sped up. We're not removing ums and ahs, and I'm not editing myself out anymore. So we'll keep doing it like this, and like, subscribe, and share. Thank you, dude.